Starting stream. I think we're starting. I think we're here. I think we're live. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the name I still have not figured out. The Poker Live Podcast / DFS Week / just DFS Week here on my YouTube channel. My name's Joey Ingram, a.k.a. Chicago Joey. Continuing the week off strong today, guys, with a young gentleman who I'm very excited to have on. I think he is a professional weightlifter and who happens to dabble in DFS in his spare time. He also enjoys tanning outside and getting a GTnO tan. He also enjoys taking photos for magazines, holding up pieces of pizza in his mouth. We're going to talk about this photo shoot. We got to get into this. He's also a man who, former poker player, been playing DFS for a long time. He's written many great DFS books that have helped a lot of players out over the years. And also, man, how much that you done, man? Also helped to found FantasyLabs.com, one of the most respected websites in the industry when it comes to, I couldn't finish this sentence. When it comes to helping players, when it comes to making players better, what would I wasn't sure the exact way to end that sentence when I was
helping players build models and create lineups, I would say.
Helping players build lineups and models. We got my buddy Jonathan Bales in the podcast today. What's up, puppy? What's going on, man? Welcome to the pod.
What's up, man? I'm excited. I've been watching this for a while. You said former poker player. I played a very small amount. I wouldn't say former poker player, but yeah, dude, I'm excited, man. This is my favorite podcast, and even without being entrenched in the poker industry now, like you guys are, I love it. It's just a great pod, and really honored that you would ask me to be on.
Poppy, come on, man. Kid, you're doing a lot of great things out there, man. What are you talking? Man, you're doing a lot of fun things. You helped to found one of the biggest sites. You're building up the site. You just announced the team FantasyLabs, man. You're doing some awesome stuff out there, man. And I think, how did we get on each other's radar? We got on each other's radar maybe, a year ago? Maybe a little bit longer than a year ago? Something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened. The first time we met was at Playboy Mansion, of course, where everyone meets in real life. But yeah, I think we were talking a bit before then. I'm not sure how that really started, but yeah, it might have just been me watching the pod.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was something on Twitter. I don't know. Anytime someone's doing something cool on Twitter, I usually follow them back if they're following me. I want to see what they're up to. You can learn some things from them and stuff like that. So, guys, let me know how the audio is in the chat. Willis says you two should date. Yeah, me and John are going to start dating after this pod. Yeah, that's exactly right. Because listen, Willis, because you have mutual respect for another person doesn't mean you guys should go date each other and fuck each other. All right, it means that you respect what the person's done, man. All right, I'm sorry that you don't respect anyone enough to say some nice things about them, man. Let's get into things, Poppy. So, where do we start with you, kid? Why don't we give people a little bit of backstory on yourself? I mean, I kind of gave a little bit of an introduction for you in terms of you being a writer. You got the website. You play in DFS. You've been involved in the industry for quite a long time. But why don't you give the people who don't know much about you outside of that, or maybe they're fans of just the poker side of things, why don't you give them a little brief introduction?
Yeah. So I guess I would go back to college. I was in college as a philosophy major. Completely useless, but I liked it, and had no idea what I was going to do, just literally no clue. And I just started doing football analytics, breaking down plays and charting them, and then I was doing it for the Cowboys, and I would chart every play, offense and defense, into 50 categories. So it'd take me maybe 12 or 15 hours to do a game. And I would send it to them for free, just hire me. And so I started doing that. And at the same time, I was doing a blog, and I would write about it. And it got not popular at all, but some people liked it. And then from there, I started to just write about sports in this very analytical way. And I got very lucky as a writer. Early on, because I started to write for the New York Times almost immediately, and then before that, if I sent some sort of proposal or something to a site, if I could do a guest post, it would be an automatic no. and then I would just after that sign it like Jonathan Bales, New York Times, even though I wrote like one thing, and then it was like automatic yes. So then I could write anywhere. So I just like completely fake that. But yeah, that's really where I got started writing, and I was doing football stuff, and then pretty quickly realized that there's like no incentive to be right in doing that, and now I actually really don't like beat writers and sports writers and stuff, because they say stuff and they have like nothing on the line. They have no skin in the game at all. And around that time, I was getting into daily fantasy a little bit, and just decided to like write a book for no reason really at all, other than I just like wanted to learn about it. I didn't really know that much about it, so this was my way of learning about it. I contacted some players and just like wrote New York Times at the bottom again, and then they got back to me, I think, because of that. And it was really just a way for me to learn how to play daily fantasy, and that's how I got started in it.
Shit, man, that's awesome. So you started so that you just charted plays for the Cowboys just to do it, and then you send it to them, and what would they respond to you, or what would they do?
Yeah, they used some of the stuff, and then like they got back, like we sort of worked together at one point, and then it was like sort of a consulting thing if a consultant didn't get paid at all. so that's what it was. And then and then I started getting into the writing a bit. But yeah, I would say until like not that long ago, maybe like 2 years ago, I was like the worst negotiator of all time. Like I had something that was actually really valuable to them. I would track everything, like every motion, every time they audibled, every alignment, every average pass depth, every single thing you could think of. It was nuts. By hand, I would do this, and I could have potentially, if I had sold them on it, it would have been worth a lot. And I just like emailed it to them and gave it to them for free. So now I think I'm a better negotiator, but up until maybe 18 months ago or 2 years ago or something, I was just like, if someone gave me a deal, I was just like, yes, automatically.
Mm-hmm. And now were you also a professional weightlifter in your spare time as well too? Is that how you got those arms over here, kid? Is that how you've been doing?
It's an optical illusion with the camera.
I don't know.
No, I used to work out a lot, so I think that's what it is. It's been the DFS life is tough, indoors all the time on the computer, same as poker, I think, online poker. But I make it a point to really I work out because I think it's so necessary mentally to do that. And you probably found the same thing, especially when you were doing like record hands of poker. Did you find it? Were you working out at that time?
No, definitely not.
Do you wish you were?
I don't think I had time. Yeah, when I did the couple of the record things, I was playing like 16-hour days. So when I wasn't
always
playing,
say that to myself, like I don't have time, but it like you do. I think that it's the EV is actually there. You'd be so much more efficient. And now you work out. I don't know if it's for what reason exactly, but it helps your mindset so much. It really does.
I'm trying to think. So, no, yeah. It seems like whenever I've been in super, super hardcore grind poker mode, I've worked out to maintain, because I always, if I'm meeting women, I want to be in shape or whatever. I just want to maintain. I've worked out hard, in the past, so I want to maintain that. I don't want to get too out of shape as I get old. How old are you?
30.
Yeah, you're younger than me, you're my little brother here, Poppy. Man, I'm old, 31. So as you get older, when you lose it, it goes away. So you got to work harder to get it back. And so I've always sort of maintained to do it. But whenever I've been in hardcore mode, I kind of neglected working out, because I guess there's not really a good reason for it. But to me, whenever I've worked out, I've always been really all in on working out. I love doing it. That used to be my number one thing in life. So I know that when I get into working out and my diet's not on track, I feel like I'm handicapping myself too much. And for me to really get my diet and my workouts on track, it takes a lot of focus for me. And that usually took away from my ability to focus on poker. So I think I just never really, until recently, when I stopped playing as much poker, then now I've been able to focus more. And I feel like my diet, man, just this diet right now I'm on with the workouts just takes up so much. Like I have to always think about eating constantly because I'm like, all right, I don't forget to eat, should forget to eat for 5 hours. I'm supposed to try and be having like 3,300 calories in my macros, a ton of carbs right now. So it's tough. I couldn't be playing poker right now and trying to do this diet. There's just no chance.
Yeah. Did you change the way you work out or eat? Because I saw a photo you posted where you were like pretty jacked. You had I think you had like a blowout or something and like a button-up shirt down to.
Oh yeah, dude. So that was when I was 19 years old in that picture, man. Yeah, I was 19 in that picture, and working out was my number one. So I was like the supernova elite of the gym. At the gym, I used to wear a shirt that said like Juice Man 315 around the gym. When I benched 315, I bought this shirt that said Juice Man 315. I used to wear it around. Like that used to be
Dude, I did the same thing. Like I worked, that's all I did. Maybe like 19 to 23 or something. All I did was work out. Like I was, and you're just like seeing the residual effects because I worked out so much then.
Yeah.
That now I work out for different reasons.
Yeah.
But it was like completely to get girls then.
But I think there's a lot of, like, indirectly, it was very beneficial to work out and really put my all into it because that was sort of the first, maybe the second thing. The first thing was just working a regular job with my first boss. But that was the first thing I really just put my everything into. And I had such great results because of just pure hard work. So that sort of got me on track to just understand that if I put in a lot of work, results are going to come, but it's going to be a lot of work. And I think I carried that over right into poker, and poker sort of picked up as my hard work outlet. And then working out sort of, it was like, woo, and then, you know what I mean?
Exact same thing for me. I was very, very lazy, I think, until I started to do that. Like I wouldn't get a job. I like when I didn't have a job. I couldn't motivate myself to do anything really.
Were you in college at that? You were in college at that point?
Yeah, when I started to work out a lot, I did a little bit in high school, and then freshman year of college. I think that's like the main, like a regular thing guys do. Freshmen, they
you go to college, you see all the sexy girls. You're trying to go pick up the chicks. Turns out when you're in shape, women like you more. It's like a weird secret that people don't keep a very good secret. But yeah, I think especially when you're where'd you go to school at?
Muhlenberg. It's a small school in Pennsylvania.
I was gonna say I want to guess the state, but I would never have. I probably would have guessed Massachusetts first, and then just gone along the East Coast and got to Pennsylvania at some point in time. So I guess you feel like you went all in on working out, and that was the first thing you really started working hard at, and really working hard and seeing results with. Yeah,
for sure. And then so I did that when I was like 19. I started to do that, and it was so extreme. Like every little thing, every like supplement and diet and everything. I just learned every single thing about it, and that was my life. That's what I did, and I don't really regret it. I think it was fine. But yeah, now I just like apply that same mindset to other things. Yeah, but generally I like that extreme approach. So like the only way I have balance in my life now is working out, where I don't work out like I did before. But otherwise, I don't think balance, like day-to-day balance, is actually a good thing. Like I think you should, if you want to be the best at something, you have to be like all in on it. That's like almost all you do or all you do. And I think that's generally a good thing, and you can achieve balance in other ways by maybe like the way that I achieve balance, I think, is to have just small periods of rest, and I'll be working like 12 or 14-hour days consistently for a while, and then have rest, as opposed to trying to be balanced every single day. Like, okay, I'm going to work 9 to 5 today or whatever. I think that's for me anyway, it's been less efficient than sort of like an extreme approach.
I feel like the balance people are like feminists these days. The people who preach in balance. Oh, you gotta have balance in your life, Teddy. You gotta have balance. They love talking about balance. And every time someone comes on the pod talks about need to have balance, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that, because I've never been able to achieve this balanced approach. And And yeah, as you said, I think it's very hard to have that great level of success at anything if you're if you're aiming for
Yeah.
balance. Obviously, like balance is easier. I feel like balance is debatably happier for a lot of people, but yeah, I'm the same way. I'm not about the balance, man. I like to go hard at whatever it is I'm doing.
Yeah, I think balance is good in theory, but like you just need to widen sort of the time frame that you're looking at. Balance over a very, very long period is something that I think is good, but balance day to day, I don't think makes sense. Like I think you should go all in on something day to day.
Guys in the
So
chat,
like you were doing working out, and then you was it poker right after that? Like you sort of yeah. It's the same thing. I think that's generally a more plus EV strategy.
yeah, it went from poker for like 6 years, 7 years, literally every day, and then I went into partying when I was traveling. Like I finally made a lot of money, and I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna start partying. And fuck, good idea in theory, bad idea in actuality, because I lost all that. You. It turns out it's much better to be addicted to poker and be addicted to playing basketball than it is to be addicted to drugs. So, addicted to the ecstasy or addicted to these music festivals or like those fun moments in your life. And I don't know, man. It seems like I'm just this super extreme person when I do something, especially if I enjoy doing it. I just do it a little bit too much, and yeah, now I'm back. Now I'm back in the I'm back in the basketball. I'm back in the the podcast and the website stuff, the content creation stuff, and I like that much more than the other stuff. So so it seems like you've really applied this idea of obsession to what it is you do, because I feel like without it you wouldn't have been able to do the projects you've done, to be able to. I mean, you wrote a bunch of books. You found the site. You're still playing DFS at a high level. So I feel like you're probably working a lot. You're probably putting a lot of hours in.
Yeah, it's I don't have like a work-life balance, because I don't even know what that is. It's just like all work, or it's all, or I don't know. It's everything that I do is just all I think about is DFS. So I never feel like I'm working or anything. It's just like every ounce of my energy is dedicated toward this one thing.
Are you an avid map studier?
What do you mean?
Do you study? Are you the kind of guy who enjoys studying the maps? I mean, you have you have two globes behind you. Are you studying the globe on a consistent basis? You have one next to you, and then one on the corner, just in case you walk out the door and you need to check where a country is. It seems like
design, man, interior design. You want to
a
hear a funny story?
That can't. Go ahead, give me the story.
When I was like 5, I guess I do like maps. When I was 5, I had encyclopedias, and I outlined every country in them, and I was gonna build a globe, but I didn't realize they weren't to scale. So I outlined every country on this paper and tried to build this giant globe of Earth, and I did it, and it just looked ridiculous.
Can you name all the countries in a continent if I told you to do that?
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you knew. You're all right, yeah.
No, I know nothing about geography.
Okay, good, because I've been trying to get this whole entire England thing down, because I have a lot of, I get a lot of foreign guests on the podcast, and a lot of them are from Europe, they're from England, and fuck, man, I always get it confused. I don't know. I got the globe in the background just in case to check.
No, you can't point out England?
I mean, I can, but there's there's UK, there's Great Britain, there's England, there's
oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I get berated on a consistent basis by these fucking Europeans in the chat because I don't understand the difference between them all. So I got a little rattled a little bit, like the 15th time they gave me shit for it. So I got a globe, and I still don't really know, man. I don't know how they do it, man. Shout out to America, great, nice 50 states set up. It's very, yeah, man, it's very nice here. 2 globes, 1 lab. I guess that makes sense, man. What's your main focus now when it comes to your life? Because you have a couple different things you could go down. So how do you, what do you spend the most time doing?
It's FantasyLabs. It's running FantasyLabs day to day, but it is sort of, like I said, it's just an extreme approach in short intervals, from I don't know, late July until mid-August. I was writing the book, or mid-July. I don't know. So that's almost all I was focused on. And then there'll be times where I'm like really focused on playing because I think it's a good spot, and other times where I'm just like not playing at all. But for the most part, it's just running the site.
So what's your approach with playing DFS? So have you not been playing much baseball since you were writing the book? Or are you waiting for football season to start? Or what's been your approach now for these past couple months?
Yeah, I played not that much. I guess it coincided with writing the book, but it's more baseball at the end of the year. I think it's really tough.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like very, very tough to beat. I would almost guarantee that I'm not profitable right now in baseball. I think it's just so tough. It's so long that the bad players are out. There's almost no bad players left at this time. So there's certainly players who are profitable in it, but I don't think that I am at this point. So yeah, just gearing up for NFL at this point. But the beginning of baseball, I think, is really, really good, especially for the way that I play. The beginning of baseball is the most profitable time of the year for me by far. It's not close.
What do you mean by the way you play?
I play in a contrarian way, which I think is sort of like cliche now, but it's trying to like exploit weaknesses in the way that other people think, and that's much easier in the beginning of the year in baseball, a very volatile sport, and the lines are really, really off compared to now, and people treat it like they know what's going to happen, and they just like don't. So it's much easier. Later in the year in MLB, it's just like a much more value-driven sport, I think, and I don't think I can compete with like a Sahil or Love Spaces or those guys in MLB. That's just like not even close. I can't do that.
Yeah, there was a question on Twitter from Ziz DFS. He said, "Ask." This kind of, basically answered the question, but I want to show him a little bit of love because he did submit a question on Twitter. Joey asked Bales tonight how this MLB season has went. Haven't seen him on the leaderboard lately.
Yeah. Just explained it. I don't play much at MLB late in the year. I think it's like probably the toughest time to play DFS.
Fucking baseball, man. God damn. Ain't nobody trying to watch baseball now. Come on, man. Come on.
I don't watch.
Come on, man. I remember I was playing the last couple of times I was playing full year fantasy baseball. I didn't watch baseball at all the entire years, like for 2 or 3 years straight now. And my friends are like, how do you do well? I'm like, I don't actually watch the games. I just follow numbers and everything. I don't know, man. It's just.
I know, but a lot of the top baseball players don't watch the games. I don't know that there's value in watching the game. There might be, not for me, but you're probably just as likely to get fooled by something, like just get fooled by noise. Like you think he's like, oh, this guy's hitting the ball hard, I'm gonna play him. It's like, no, he's not. Like, you don't know. It's just like very, very random, I think. So I don't know that there's too much value in watching baseball, but I think there's a ton of value in watching other sports like football.
Young man Peter Jennings in the chat says Bales stacks the hot weather games in April.
That's true.
Dare I say GTO? I can't go with strats because you're gonna be doing that next year now, man.
I think people know that generally that I put a larger emphasis on weather maybe than most.
In baseball?
Yeah, in baseball.
I'm never sure which strategy questions I want to follow up with the guest this week on, because I'm like, I don't really want you to say anything, and then he gives away maybe.
No, everyone knows weather.
Right?
Weather
Okay.
In baseball, everyone knows that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then talk more about it. Then why is that? Why does that work? Or why do you put so much emphasis on weather? I mean, like the average fly ball, I think, travels 5 feet more for every 10 degrees hotter it is. So the difference between like a 50-degree game early in the year and a 90-degree game, if it's played lower in the country or something where it's hotter, is massive. It's just a huge deal. And for a while, people weren't really recognizing that, and it wasn't even like really reflected in Vegas either. And in DFS especially, like you're pretty much trying to get
singles don't really do that much good, and you're not really necessarily looking for the same things that would lead to runs per se. You're looking for upside, like stolen bases and home runs. And yeah, those home runs are the weather has a really big impact on that. Altitude, wind, temperature, humidity, all those things.
Fucking meteorologist over here, man. I like it. Sounds like you think Sahil's got a meteorologist on the team that maybe, I mean, he might. Listen, I don't know. After having the guest on, talking with people this week, talking with Dout and Asani, I'm liable to think he's got everything happening, man. He's got the weather guy. He knows every clubhouse guy's number. He's got golfers in the PGA just on deck, on speed dial, man. He's just got this ultimate black little BlackBerry phone here.
Sahil's an amazing player. And yeah, I heard him say on the pod he uses machine learning, so I know he uses that a lot. So I'll say that he does that, and I imagine that I know he's looking at weather. I imagine it's pretty strong part of what he's doing, but I don't know for sure. He's a much better player than I am.
Well, what's your approach going to be with NFL season then? Are you a guy who does both GPPs and cash games, or are you kind of just stick with one?
No, I play almost exclusively tournaments. I'll play cash games a little bit if I think it's a good spot, but not really.
So why wouldn't you play? Why wouldn't you just sit at the heads ups, maybe up to $10 ones or something like that? I mean, I would assume that you know how to make the best lineup pretty well. So why wouldn't you just sit those and play those?
Yeah, I can make money doing that, but it's like not when you start to add up how much money it is and how much time it takes to enter those and do the lineup and everything. It's not really that much EV. It's like maybe a couple $1,000 or something, but it takes a long time to do that. And
what if you just sat and just let people sit you?
Yeah, it's the same thing though. I think it's the same thing. Like just putting in the time to create that lineup that I think is gonna, because I'm not gonna win at like 90% or something. It's I might win at like 60%.
No, I see what you mean. No, I was wondering. I feel like if you're good at GPPs and constructing multiple lineups and looking at it from that angle, you'd probably be pretty good at just figuring out what would make the best lineup, especially with something like NFL.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that cash games are more, they're like easily solvable, and what you should do isn't really that much dictated by what your opponents are doing. It's like you have one lineup that you're trying to get to, which is the best lineup, and there's potentially a little bit of game theory, but not really that much. It's like very, very mathematical, and like as we get closer to solving that, it's just like much tougher to beat. Whereas tournaments are more dictated on what other people are doing, and so it's very fluid. Like the right strategy changes all the time, right? So like if I put out something in my books and a lot of people buy my books, or if we say something on FantasyLabs and a lot of people are there, it changes what the right thing is to do potentially if enough people are using it. And I think that I like that strategy more. I like that dynamic more, just personally, but I also think that it's something that is it's just much less easily solvable.
So how do you decide what you're going to, like, what's been working for you, what you're going to give away, what you're going to put in a book, what you're going to talk about on a podcast? Because it sounds like, I mean, if a lot of people are taking this information in and you put out some of your best things, well, then now people are going to start using those strategies, and now those strategies become less valuable, and then you have, you know what I mean? So how do you find that balance in terms of what you put out there?
Yeah, I put out a lot of stuff. I'm not really afraid to do that because I think that, I don't know, I just take like a very long view on things, and I think that short term, there's no doubt that you shouldn't be giving away information, right? Like you should never do that. That makes no sense. Especially if you're a cash player, I think that it's like automatic. You would never share stuff. But even GBP, it doesn't help you. It might lower your EV just a little bit, but it doesn't help you. But long term, I think that it's a much different thing. And just like I'm thinking like 5-10 years out, what's the best thing that I could possibly do? And I think that helping people and building that reputation as someone in DFS is that maybe people respect or whatever is potentially more plus EV than not giving away information. I understand why people don't do it. If you're a cash game player, I would never do it. I think that's like, because there, especially high stakes, there's like, you're playing like 10 guys or something, right? So if like you give them one piece of information that helps them, you're gonna significantly cut into your profits. Whereas I can't really do that too much as a tournament player.
I feel you on that. I mean, it's kind of the same way. That's why I never talk, Potluck Omaha strategy, because if I'm playing 10-20, which is some of the highest stakes in the American sites, if I if I say something and it makes one or two of those guys better, I mean, well, that's very very bad for me. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense why tournament players are more inclined to want to share strategy, especially in poker. Definitely makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, you're very, as you mentioned, you're very much spending time on FantasyLabs, so that's very important for you to build up. And obviously, by you sharing this information, it's probably going to lead to more success for your product. Yeah,
I mean that's sort of the view that I've taken, and I think that everyone, it's the same thing in poker. Like, everyone is acting in their best interest in some way. Like, there's like money to be had, and everyone's trying to figure out ways to get that money. And I'm probably acting selfishly too, and in like potentially taking money from people who could make it from fish or something. But I think that's the best long-term strategy for me.
What do you feel like the view of the community is at you then, as you're doing this? Do you think that people are, because I mean, sometimes people that they consider them touts, I suppose, in DFS. So sometimes they have negative viewpoints of people who are putting out these products or who are killing the games, as some things I've read. So what do people say about you or say to you that are amongst the community?
Yeah, I haven't had too much negative feedback on that, only because I don't think like I tout things in the same way as, like, my books are just like broad strategy stuff, like things that are going on, and FantasyLabs is not like, here are the plays or anything. We don't recommend. It's just like a platform to help you build a model and like do your own thing. Like, here are the stats, and we'll you can weight them however you want, and we'll back test it for you. So I think it's a little bit different than like giving lineups or something like that, which I think it's very different, actually. So I haven't. There's probably a little bit of negative feedback, but yeah, not too much, I think.
Not too much. That's interesting. Yeah, I feel like there's like certain people that when they create a product and just the kind of person that they are, the way they handle themselves, they're looked at much more favorably than other people who do something like that because that person's an asshole, or they're not nice, or they're not this, or they're not that. So I find it interesting how certain people are looked at a certain type of way when they might be doing the same thing.
Yeah, I would say also, like, the people who are like sort of influencers within DFS, not that I've done this on purpose, but like I'm friends with them or whatever. Like before I even did this stuff, like, you just like are in DFS and you become friends with these people, and so that probably has an impact where, like if I'm really good friends with another player and I think he does something wrong, I'm probably less likely to call him out than someone I don't know, right? So yeah, they could be part of that. So maybe people like secretly hate what I'm doing, but I don't know.
Well, I know exactly what you mean. So I don't. That's too much strat. I don't want to get into that. So, but no, that definitely, I think that matters a lot. What's up? How'd you guys start FantasyLabs? So you and Peter started together, or how did that work exactly?
Yeah, so we wanted to do something, and we started a site. Kind of. We didn't launch it, and it was really bad. It was just like, it was so bad. We didn't know what we were doing. We got like a developer overseas, and it was no Indian developers, no Filipino developer. Listen, guys, if you're
ever on, listen, okay, no, and I don't want to. Don't get angry, Indians, okay? Don't tweet this at me. Honestly, don't play this back. Okay, this is just me being real, me just being honest with you guys. If you're going to hire a developer, if you're going to hire anyone to do anything for you, and you go to Upwork or you go to something like that, no Indians, no Filipinos, I'm hesitant, no China, Asian countries, honestly, stay away, okay? North America, English-speaking countries, U.S., Canada, okay? Trust me. All right.
Yeah, I guess I agree. The bigger thing was, I think that if you start a company, your developers are with what we do, which is basically like software as a service. It like the developers are everything. We have to have them invested. So it was like really big that we started a company where the developer, like we have two developers who are co-founders of mine, and they have significant equity, and that is really, really important to me. Because like you can't run this site with like shit going wrong at
Jonathan, what do you want? You want the software? You need a MLB weather added? Okay, I put the weather formula into that thing, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sakes, man, come on, what are you doing, buddy?
lineup lock is at like 3 a.m. or something their time.
Yeah, man, I imagine. So how did you go upon finding those developers then?
They found me through the books, so that's why like I think the books are valuable. I don't write the books to make money on the books themselves per se, but like they're very valuable in terms of like people just automatically think that you know what you're doing if you write a book, which is completely untrue. Like my first book was so bad. It was so bad. My first book was like you should actually all go back and buy my first book. It was really bad. Yeah, people think that you know what you're doing, and now hopefully they're good. But someone read one of my recent books, and it was a guy who became a fellow co-founder that runs a similar type of sports betting website, Sports Insights, and BetLabs. I don't know if you know that, but yeah, so he contacted me, and this was around the time that me and Peter were starting this site with the Indian developers and realized that it might not work. So it was really good timing, and then we just like joined from there.
Seriously, and no shots at Indians when we say this either. I don't know what they got. They're charging $3 for a reason, guys. All right, like they're charging fine. Like it's no matter what the reviews say, just trust me, okay? What? So you gave them equity in the company then?
The developers, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes
and
sense.
I think that if you're starting a company, almost any company where you're online like FantasyLabs, you should do that.
Also, some of them, the books too, is the books just kind of books like a clothing line in a way. I feel like the book is great for brand awareness, getting yourself out there, and I guess it's a lot stronger than a clothing line is because now people can see the way you think. They can see the way that you are delivering this information, and then if you have another product to either point them to, whether it's another book or whether it's a website, now they have more confidence in you. They trust what you say. You've already proven that you know what you're talking about, so it makes it a much easier conversion for another sale too.
Yeah, it's just like automatic legitimacy where people see that maybe you know what you're talking about, and then you generally from a book you make money in other ways, whether you're a consultant or if you have something to sell or whatever it is. That's the way to make money from a book, I think.
I'm gonna write a book. What can I write a book about? Let me think.
GTO.
GT, man, I'm chasing GTO. I mean, I don't know if I'm acquiring quite GTO quite yet, man. You're big into the idea of game theory, right?
Yeah, that's my strategy.
How are the DFS community taking to this GTO?
Oh, I think it's changed a lot in the past year or two, especially the past year, where people they recognize that it matters. Ownership in tournaments matters, but yeah, there's still like work to be done in terms of I think people implementing it in the right way. A lot of people just playing like bad players just to like try to be contrarian, which is maybe not the best strategy.
Sounds like me last year when I was playing tournaments and cash games, and I played GVP.
I heard of a Forte every week.
Listen, Forte means it's for the Bears. How can you bet against Forte, man? That's my guy. Cutler, sometimes you stack Forte, Cutler, and I don't know who the fuck was. No, it wasn't Marshall. Marshall was on the Bears. He was on the Jets last year, right? Yeah, he was on the Jets last year too, though. Who was the main? Because White got hurt last year for the Bears. Jeffrey was kind of hurt a lot too. Who the fuck was the wide receiver for the Bears last year? Wasn't he? I thought he was hurt for part of the season.
Yeah, who was there?
I know White was hurt to start the year, so maybe Jeffrey was healthy for a little bit. I guess Bennett. Oh, I played.
Bennett I think Bennett led the league in catches among tight ends.
Yeah, I liked playing Bennett a lot, and I would stack Bennett with Cutler. But when I first started playing the Millionaire Maker, dude. God, this is what they mean by the fucking fun players. I'd be like, okay, all right, I need to like pick guys that aren't being picked. I'm gonna pick 3 tight ends. I'm like, man. So I'm playing 3 tight ends, and dude, I'm just such a man. Yeah. Ay. This is why NFL week 1 and 2 is so profitable, because you got fucking guys like me last year just throwing random things in these GPPs and understanding. I understood cash games. I didn't understand GPPs quite. People are like, contrarian this, contrarian that. I'm like, okay, no one's going to play tight ends. Someone is going to pick all tight ends. Turns out.
Turns out that's not right.
Turns out might have been bad strategy. Yeah, I didn't know. Now I'm better prepared this year. I guess if you get some tips out there to some guys starting GPPs this year, we'll give them some NFL tips here for some basic-ish ideas, I suppose.
I would say, obviously, like, don't play low value players, or don't play low guys you think are going to be low ownership just for the sake of it. Like, sometimes you can have high value and low ownership at the same time. And I would also say that the ownership, people look at ownership on an individual player, right? Like, that's all that matters. This guy's going to be this percent owned. He's this like anti-fragile or contrarian or whatever. But like your lineup is really what matters. The how contrarian your lineup is. And I think that sometimes you can sort of take like the extreme approach that we were talking about, where you target guys that you know are super high value, right? Like, there's certain guys that, like a backup running back and the starter got hurt and he's min priced. Like, you don't want to fade that. That's stupid. Like, he's just, even if he gets like 12 carries, he's going to return value. You don't want to fade that. So play those guys who are obvious value, and then play the guys who you know are going to be like maybe 3 in your lineup, or 2 who you know are going to be super low owned, who you think are probably better values than other people do, as opposed to like the middle ground where you're trying to find guys who are like kind of low owned and like kind of good values, and it's really hard to assess those guys. So I think that don't fade chalk just to do that. Like, put chalk in your lineup and then go very contrarian around that. I would say that's probably more GTO than trying to like find the most contrarian plays on an individual basis.
Taught me something, man. Dare I say GTO right there? Just taught me something right with that idea. Yeah, I think a lot like from I don't want to be like make this too noob. I know there's a lot of DFS guys up watching there too, and I never try to make the poker conversations I have on a noob level for the most part, but I find that interesting because I've always focused on the cash game side of things with DFS last year, playing heads ups and double or nothings and 3-mans and 10-mans and stuff like that. So it's interesting to start thinking about tournaments. I guess Asani kind of he said some things yesterday that got me a little bit excited to think about the GPPs and DFS. And now talking with you, I'm more excited because it's like a fun challenge to figure out. Like, you figure out exactly what goes with what, and obviously there are elements of luck. You got to run good with your plays, and you might be implementing a good strategy that is very, very good. It's just sample size for NFL is so small that it's not going to win. So
yeah. And you talk to 3 of the best cash game players in the world, and they play some GPPs. I think Dot doesn't play as many. Obviously, Saho does. Asani does a little bit. So they're still very good GPP players. But the mindset, I think, is very, very different.
Yeah, it seems like it's much different. When I first started, people told me it was GBPs are kind of like tournament players and poker, and cash games like cash games. I'm like, well, fuck, of course I'm gonna play cash games. Like, I hate tournaments, and I guess I lost a lot of money on the qualifiers things, but now
the qualifiers, that's tough.
Why nobody tell me this, man? I'm like firing away these. I wanted to go to the Playboy Mansion one last year, so I'm playing.
Well, you made it. You made it without fucking qualifying, man. That's the way to go.
Dare I say? Yeah, I didn't need to qualify.
All these poker friends playing. Why are you trying to qualify?
I didn't think about that, and I have a lot of friends who go to these qualifiers too. I never was like, hey, want to go with it to a qualifier? Yeah, and then it's. I don't know why I never thought about that approach, but
definitely not GTO to try to qualify yourself, man.
It seemed fun. Yeah, I literally spent so much fucking money on those things because there's the $500 one NBA, so I'm like putting 2 lineups. I'm whatever, man. I'm an idiot. I'm not even gonna. No more. They're like.
Well, the qualifier, like if you have nothing else, like if you're not involved in DFS, the qualifiers are definitely negative EV. For me, there's like some brand equity and being there, right? Like we make money for that from that, and like I qualify, and that helps me in FantasyLabs. But like if you're just you're just a pro DFS player and you're not doing anything else, it's like there's no way you can make money in those, I think.
Perfect. Thank you. Hi, thank you. I appreciate you telling me that now. Thank you. Yeah, I guess from a branding standpoint, or even if you win one of those things, it does become something you put on your resume. And now kind of I feel like when you see the DFS player's resume, there's 2012 fantasy sports winner, Sunshine Classic Cantaloupe winner, and the edamame football showdown in Tennessee. Like there's all these things. They all sort of, I personally.
I remember that edamame.
Yeah, got that edamame in Tennessee. I'm telling you, I don't know where they got it from, but it tasted like some natural Japanese edamame when they presented it there for people to eat at the final. It was good stuff, but yeah, I feel like before maybe it held more credibility. But do you feel like it's still, I guess amongst recreational players, it probably holds a lot of credibility when you have those titles to your name that you can just like New York Times, for instance, New York Times writer. You have this winner, that winner, this qualifier, that qualifier.
Yeah, I think that it still does, for sure. I think it doesn't. Maybe if you know DFS really well, it doesn't as much, just because a lot of the cues are just like guys putting in a lot of money. So there's guys who'll be in there who are like just spend a lot of money to be there, and the equity of their seats is nowhere near what they spent. But there's definitely still value among recreational players and stuff.
Is there anything like I guess I'm describing a year-long fantasy, but are there any qualifiers where if you play the entire season, then the certain number of people or certain people qualify for like a finale somewhere, and you kind of get the best of the best players playing in that? Because you mentioned just then, people spend a lot of money to get to the qualifiers. Was there something the opposite where they rewarded based on skill instead of how much money you spend?
Well, so what was that like over the course of the season?
Yeah, so something like over a course of a season where you accumulate whatever. I mean, obviously it'd be hard to do because certain people are putting a number of lineups in certain contests. So maybe it would be, I guess Dot maybe talked about it with this. They try to do it with this soccer or the golf thing that the 5K talked about. That was over a couple months, and they were in groups and stuff like that. So I guess that might be.
Yeah, they'll have some bracket challenges and stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, it seemed like that might be a good way to get the best of the best people in a qualifier. So that way, if you actually win that, you have some bragging rights, and that actually means something. Whereas these other qualifiers, you just put up $500, over the course of 20 qualifiers, and you win a seat in there, and you spent XXX amount of money, but you paid for that.
Yeah, seat. I don't know. It's tough. It dry like that. Yeah, I understand why they do it, but with the bracket type things, like you get the best of the best of cash game players because you're going head to head. So it is very tough to figure out like who are the best tournament players because it's very volatile, especially NFL. Like we don't know, like you need like years of data.
Well, you guys are doing something cool with FantasyLabs. I recently saw you got Team FantasyLabs. So you got a bunch of guys on the team. And, what's this about, man? I saw you had a couple introductory podcasts with a couple of the guys getting together and talking. So what's the idea with that?
My idea was sort of that people like don't know about DFS players, like their lives and just where they came from, just general things about these guys, like personalities and stuff that like in poker, like what you're doing. People know a lot about these poker pros and these DFS guys, you don't know anything about them. And I think that there's definitely room for that. And that's just sort of what an angle I think that we want to take at FantasyLabs, where we're trying to promote sort of the lifestyle stuff and the top guys who are using FantasyLabs to help them win, and just like tell their stories a little bit and try to connect with people.
Well, since we've talked about, technically we've talked about this off the air, but I have a lot of ideas, but I'm not going to share a lot of them on the air because that wouldn't be GTO, I feel like. But yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying before. I don't know why that really hasn't been done. Why aren't personalities being pushed more in the DFS world? I really can't figure that out. I mean, I don't know. Like, even if the guys aren't fucking interesting, it doesn't matter. You're interested by the success that they've had. You're interested in the interesting part of them is them being quiet, or them being introverted, or them being these kind of nerdy, like, or nerdy, or whatever. If they're nerdy, or if they're dorky, whatever. That's the interesting part, because you get to figure out about that person. You get to see that person develop over time. It's like, just because this guy isn't some psychotic maniac who's partying and then he's gambling, doing this, that doesn't really matter. The dorky guys, the quiet guys, the guys you say are these dorks, though, they're still interesting people, and they can. I think people just don't see that where I see that. And that's a big influence on why I started doing this podcast, because I still think those stories are interesting in their own right.
I agree completely. People just like want to meet these people, or like understand who they are. Like, they know the screen names like CSU Ram or Sahil or Dow or whoever, and they just like putting a face to a name and understanding their story, I think, is really, really valuable. And it doesn't matter who they are. Like, if they're super nerd or super jock, like, it doesn't matter. Just like who they are. Yeah. So that was the idea behind that, and I think we'll build upon it. But I just like that. I think there's a really big inefficiency in DFS coverage where everything is about strategy, just everything, like how to win, and it's not like. That's what, where these guys that are playing.
That's why I did this week, because I'm like, man, all these fucking podcasts are it's all the same thing. I'm like, these guys, how much fucking often can they talk strategy? I don't understand, dude. Like, what the fuck, man? I mean, I guess baseball, sure, every day, but yeah, I was like, man, these guys love talking strategy, DFS. Like, how much can you say about, like, the running backs in the NFL?
I know. We'll put out a strategy thing, and it does whatever, and then. We published like CSU Ram and Birdwings is one of his good friends, like a podcast, and people are so intrigued by it because they're just like telling stories from their past about whatever, just like getting drunk and things, and people want to hear that, and it just is, I think, I don't know, it's just something that people connect with, and I think definitely poker's a really good model where it grew because of those personalities, like. Mm-hmm. Moneymaker and Helmuth and Tom Dwan and whoever it is, like all these different angles, and people either like want to model their game after them, or they're just like interested in that lifestyle and get it more involved in poker for that reason.
I feel like and this is something I've been so all in on this idea of just building the personalities, because I feel like when you can create, you're not really creating personalities, when you can give the personalities platforms to get themselves out there, for people to know them, you create bigger fans. You create bigger fans of that person. You create bigger fans of the genre, whether it's for me, PLO, or whether it's for daily fantasy sports or poker in general. You help to create fans of both of those things. And when people are fans, they want to play more. They want to pay more attention. They're more interested. They're more engaged. And yeah, I mean, this is something where, I've been a big believer in this for the past couple of years, and I've seen it have success. And I was literally when I searched around in DFS, I was shocked this wasn't happening. I was very surprised.
Yeah, good idea on your part. I think that people are like so consumed with overall numbers, no matter what it is, like. Visitors to your site or like Twitter followers or whatever.
They're obsessed with that. Yeah, obsessed.
They don't care about engagement, right? Like, how much do these people actually care about what you're doing? Mm-hmm. And so, like, it doesn't matter if like all these people follow you on Twitter, you have a million visits to your website, if you ultimately like can't connect with people, or they don't give you ultimately, if you're trying to sell something, if they don't give you their money, like, you have to connect with people in some way. Like the overall follower count, I think, is like completely irrelevant.
100% agree. I was listening to a podcast today about a recent European Poker Tour event they had in Barcelona, and the guy who was doing it said this was the biggest year of EPT Barcelona because they had this number of players. I'm like, dude, that is such a fucking terrible metric to. I mean, I guess that's how the companies are gauging success. it's such a terrible metric to really gauge success when there's so much negative feedback amongst the community of people. Like, it's just such an insincere way to tout what you just did, and it doesn't even really show exactly what it was like. And it's such a negative way to just view, like, you're only viewing it based on numbers. You don't base it what people are actually saying, or what's it. And it kind of, I don't know. It was a little bit tilting when I listened to this today, but I can understand why people only use that metric to gauge success or gauge whatever it is that they see as success, because we're sort of programmed to do that, it feels like.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like, you could have like a BuzzFeed who has all this traffic, right? But it's not targeted. It's like any type of person versus a really awesome blog that doesn't get that much traffic, but the people who are on it just absolutely love it, and they trust the person, and they'll like pay for advice or pay for whatever they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. And that blog could make like way more money than the larger site. Maybe not BuzzFeed, but you get the idea. It's just like the engagement and how much you connect with people, I think, is really, really important, and people overlook that so much.
Yeah, they're so driven by money. So focused on money. How much is this doing this? And obviously, you mentioned at the beginning, you send your stuff to Dallas Cowboys for free. You write your first book for free. You're writing a lot of stuff. Your content, you're writing for other sites. You're guest blogging for free. And most people don't understand the value of free. They don't understand that. I mean, even if you even if you gotta do free things for years, it gets you somewhere. It can get you a lot of places. It can get you a place you can't even imagine it can get you to. But people are they're so obsessed with perfection and short-term money and I feel it gets in a lot of people's way, and that's why a lot of people don't do things. That's why people just don't start something, because they don't. They
have a very short view of like what they like, trying to maximize money right now. I think the biggest piece of advice I could give to someone who's like trying to break into anything is give your stuff away for free. Email someone, like cold email them, the president of a company or whoever. Give them ideas of like very, very specific ideas of how they could make their company better. 5 ideas. Do work for them. Do something very, very valuable for them. And they won't ignore you. They can't. Like, if you want to, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, if you want to work in any industry, just like do something very, very valuable within that industry, and I think it'll work out. Like, you don't even, like, it doesn't matter if you didn't go to college or anything. It's irrelevant. Like, a resume is completely irrelevant, I think, today. At FantasyLabs, when we hire people, if they even actually send me a resume, it's like I've never once read one of them, and like we hire people based on if they've done something and they can provide value to us.
Why you big time in resumes like that, Bales? Come on, puppy. Maybe they got a good resume. What?
Who cares?
Come on, man. Big time in the resume like that, man. It's funny. I actually have done this within the past 4 days. What you just said. So I've done exactly what you just said.
Someone like offered something that
I've done that
help your site.
I've done that to somebody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've done that to 3 companies. Yeah. So it's very, very smart. See, I mean, people don't think about these things, man. But these are like these hidden things. When people are talking about building up a channel, a Twitch, or this or that. There's some of these little things behind the scenes that are so important that no one really talks about or thinks about or does, and that's what makes what you do have a higher level of success. Obviously, you need the content to be good. You need the product to be good too. But if those things are good and then you do these other things, that's how you get to see success at a high level. That's how you get to see growth at a high level, because, I don't know. A lot of strategy out there. Luckily, no one in poker. I mean, are people in DFS? Do you feel like there's a lot of smart people that are doing different ideas in terms of products, or in terms of content, or in terms of software?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff out there in DFS. I think that I mean, obviously, I think what we're doing is the best, but there's a lot of good content for sure. There's a ton of content, like overwhelming amount of content, where if you're a new player, you can like very quickly learn a lot of different things to become a better player. But in terms of like tools and like really good data and modeling and stuff, I don't know that there's too much, but I do think that it's coming in the near future. The next 12 months, I think there'll be a lot of competition for sure.
Yeah, it certainly seems like there's a lot of value in establishing yourself as one of the top sites for your product, because as you mentioned, I feel like there's only going to be more and more. It's going to be more noisy in the space. There's going to be more content sites for DFS. There's going to be more software products, these lineup, all these different types of things. And being one of the first people in that space and now being able to actually capitalize that and build on that is going to put you in a position where you could potentially be an authority for an extended period of time with the action you're putting in right now with things.
Yeah. I mean, that's what RotoGrinders has done. They have a great site, but they were also so early. They were, Cal had, I think, was Pocket Fives.
Yeah, Pocket Fives, yeah.
Yeah, so he started that and then started RotoGrinders like immediately.
They're crushing.
Like, yeah, amazing foresight, just like really, really sharp guy. I love Cal, and yeah, they have really cool stuff. But part of the reason that they completely own like community and content and stuff is they started so early.
Mm-hmm. I really like their site. They do a lot of like fun. They don't just have one thing, two thing, three thing. They have like 5, 6, 7 reasons to come to the site.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they have a lot of cool tools and stuff, and then the community, like that's where everyone goes, right? You can't replicate that. You almost have to have like a critical mass of people. It's very difficult to like we couldn't do that. I don't think we would have to put a lot of resources into that. It's just really tough to duplicate. So I think that they've like completely won on community and forum and stuff.
In terms of the forums?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's something that I feel like you could compete if you want it. You could compete. You could try to compete, but things would have to happen for you to be able to overtake them. But I feel like there's still value in having some type of community set up amongst your network or your site.
Oh no, yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I think that it's going to be difficult to overtake them in that.
Maybe, yeah. I bet people would say the same thing about 2+2 in poker right now, but I bet that's not true. Like I mean, I guess, but they're doing a lot of stuff, and they're doing so many things to just get traffic to the site, and then kind of can push them to the forums. But I've thought about forum strategy a lot, so I feel like there are definitely ways to compete. There's definitely ways to compete, especially if you got the right people that are participating in the forums. If you have exclusivity amongst what's being discussed, who's discussing it, the quality of discussion. Especially you take RotoGrinders now, I feel like it's a lot of certain types of people on there, and really not adding a ton of value in terms of a lot of times what they're bringing to certain conversations. No shots at them. I mean, it's kind of banging away, but it's just like that on 2+2 as well too, and that's why you've seen those forums sort of tail off in poker. So now if you can change what exactly the forums are, if this forum has this and you take the positives of this forum, bring it into that, and then expand on that and try to limit the things that make this what it is, I feel like there are some ways to be able to
yeah,
a
lot. Yeah, I thought there were a lot of really good thoughts there.
Thought about this a lot, man. I'm telling you, I thought about this a lot.
I'm so naive on community. I've never done anything like that. I don't know what it takes, but I like that idea of like focusing on like a little niche, which would probably be for you like the top players and the guys like who know the most. Let's bring them here and then grow it from there. I really like that, as opposed to like, okay, let's try to capture this entire market at once. We're not going to be able to do that. It's very tough. Like any business you build, you should like try focus very, very small, I think, at first, and just like dominate that and then grow from there. So I like that idea a lot. Yeah, we haven't gotten into community at all. We've thought about it, but it's a difficult thing to build, but if we did, it would be in the way I think that you just sort of outlined.
Yeah, I mean, I'm big into the idea of engagement and engaging with the guy who's got 2 followers on Twitter to the guy who's got 50,000 followers on Twitter, and just building those, making people feel special. I think that's what a lot of people overlook is is they don't make everyone feel special. It's tough when you got a lot of people who are showing you love, or a lot of people who ask you questions, a lot of people that want to get recognized by you. It's tough, but you'll find is if you put that effort in there, then when you have something to send them to, they want to support you. They're looking to support you. They're looking to be a part of that. And I mean, people just want to feel a part of something. I feel like out there, I think sometimes people get a little blinded by all their friends. Their friends are all, these guys who are also well known. So, but 99% of people are the guys that aren't really well known. They're the guys, they're just guys who are just, they got a job in Idaho, and they got a kid, and they got a wife, and they fucking hate their job, and they want to come home, and they want to watch the podcast. They want to check out, they want to read this article, or they want to feel like, they want to feel special. They want to feel something. And, the person that they enjoy listening to or enjoy following, when that person's engaging with them, I mean, that makes people feel good. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's something I enjoy doing. That's something I have fun doing. I think you have to enjoy doing it, because you don't want to force yourself to do it, because then you start hating doing something like that.
Yeah, no, I agree completely with that. I think that's a really good assessment. Roto-Grinders, I think, has done a good job of. They do have good engagement with a lot of players. But yeah, I think that there maybe is room for a more niche type of community that we're with a certain type of player that could potentially grow from there.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I mean, you got the team going on here now. Who's on the team? Let me see if I recognize the names on the team. I know Peter's on the team. I know Adam Leviton, my guest tomorrow night's on the team. Let me see. It's so hard to find the team on the main page. I had to scroll all the way to the bottom, man. I'm trying to find the team.
Yeah,
like, where's the fucking team at, man?
Yeah, so I wonder how many. There's not. I guess we don't really have too many poker guys in there. Levitan played a bit.
Hey, he just won a tournament recently. Come on, man. 40K.
Yeah, he did a good job. I know. It's like a block away from my house. He was playing at Sugar House, I think, and. Yeah, I walked down there and gave him a FantasyLabs shirt, so he won in that.
Yeah, I don't recognize the other names on the team. I just see their faces.
Yeah, those top three are like three of the top tournament players: B. Calicor, Ganondorf, the Clone. Obviously, CSU Ram and Birdwings are top cash game players.
CSU Ram's got to get that sick photo with his avatar back. He can't be having this suit and tie photo on here. Come on, man. Come on, Poppy. You need to step it up. Get some GTO, Peter. Come on. Birdwing's got a nice photo, mountains in the background. You obviously got one of your many professional magazine spread pictures over here. You're doing good. Sports Geek looking good. Justin fan?
Yeah, Justin. Justin runs our NBA. He's incredible. Ridiculous. He's so good.
I like this guy. Adam looking good, and looks like some poker shot there. So, yeah, I'm all about studying GTO with these headshots. These headshots, man. I've done some headshot GTO research. I've done way too much research on things. Let's put it like that when it comes to things.
So you change your avatar on Twitter all the time. What is the reason behind that?
You zig when they zag, man. Come on. You zig when they zag. Chestnut, you bring them something different, man. I mean, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of elements of strategy behind. I mean, not like I just like have fun doing it. I like showing off random things on there. Like I had Usain Bolt. I got a shout to my boy Usain Bolt. I had my boy Harambe on there. Dick South for Harambe. I had him on there. I just like having on random things. I like having me sometimes. I like having random people sometimes. Throw a little black kid on there once in a while. You throw a sports athlete on there once in a while. You just, I don't know, you mix it up. It's fun. You try to have fun with it. All the businessmen are like, you need to have a headshot of yourself. I'm like, man, fuck that. I'm not trying to have my picture all the time. So, my audience is there, how many men do you think, and what's your men to women ratio in terms of your audience for your Twitter followers or FantasyLabs? Could be worse than
we might have one on FantasyLabs.
It could be worse than my ratio.
No, it's probably, I think we have maybe like 4 or 5% or something female.
Better than mine. Mine's 3.3% or something like that, over millions of views. It's yeah, every time somebody follows me on Snapchat or Twitter, it's man. I'm like, fuck, man. I gotta get. Now I'm doing more DFS stuff and more men. So it's a perfect transition for me.
Yeah. What about on Twitter? Like, how many of you still like?
Got to be
3%?
99% men for sure. There's not.
That's what I thought, but I'm trying to find mine
I
now.
can't remember the last time a woman
Here,
followed me on Twitter.
I have 6% female.
As your Twitter followers?
Yeah, and I thought it was like all guys. So.
I don't even know how to figure it. It's probably like all those fake those sex bots that are like taking over Twitter these days, man.
They've taken over. Is that in poker too? In DFS, like I have a lot of them, man.
Yeah, it's so I don't know what I think they're trying to get them to you click on their page and then they have the link in the profile and then you click on the link and it sends you to some like sex scam site. I don't exactly know how the scam works, but
what does that work on though?
Probably like the guy from Idaho who's got the kid and the job and the fucking wife. I mean, that's probably what it works on. Yeah, like the same guy with 2 Twitter followers. That's who it works on. Yeah, I always wonder how that works, though. I really don't know. Talk about your recent article in Success Magazine. So you had an article written, "Why is taking risks worth it?" It's a pretty long and intense article.
It is.
What are you doing? You're doing something else right now. I can see you.
I was typing to bring it up to look at these awkward photos.
Oh yeah. Tell people a little about the article. So it was fun. It was like in depth. I feel like you have to be really like you have to like reading to read the article because it was a longer one.
Yeah, it was definitely like a column. I like the article. I thought everything was good. They I don't know why they did this, honestly. Like they dedicated a very good writer to this story who wrote the American Sniper book, and he writes like very awesome stories, and then shadowed me for some reason. I don't know why. I made a very good photographer too. Yeah, so the photographs very awkward.
Let me pull these photographs up for people to see because we got to show some love to these photos here. Hold on, let me pull up the magazine here on success.com. All right, guys. So magazine, Success Magazine. When you guys think of Success Magazine, gather your thoughts for a couple seconds. Tell me what comes to your mind. Success Magazine. Success. Productivity. Money. Hard work. Grinding. Effort. Heart. Soul. Okay. So we're going to pull up this article over here, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what their idea of success meant for Jonathan here. Let me see if I can get this up right here. How am I supposed to do this with OBS? Let me show the window. Add window capture. Don't be porn. Don't be porn. Don't be porn. Don't be porn. Okay. Whew, okay. I'm just going to make this full screen for a second. So, all right. So here's the article, and picture at the top. Okay, you can't see this, Jonathan, but it's a picture at the top. So it starts off. He's got a foam figure that says, "I am big time." Okay, all right. So he's got a foam figure behind a board that says "I am big time" with some graphs and some pie charts and stuff like that. That foam finger exactly in his hand. Yeah. Okay, so the "I am big time" DraftKings. We scroll down. Okay, now we get a little weird. We got some Philadelphia bobbleheads, and Jonathan's got a rolled up cigarette in his ear, where he's holding $100 bills.
It's not a cigarette.
What the fuck is it then? It looks like a cigarette.
Pencil.
Okay, he got a cigarette in his ear. He's got hundreds in his hand, and he's got $10K, like $5,000 or $10,000 bricks in front of him on this chair over a football, like a football, some type of field with baseball players and basketball and hockey players on there. So, why'd they want to go with this one?
I don't know. I have no say over this, man. The idea overall was like that I work from home and I'm like
No. Let me show what the idea from you working from home is with this next one. So here you are, sitting on the couch with your Los Angeles jersey on. You got the biggest pizza slice. Is that a warm pizza slice or is it a cold pizza slice?
Dude, it took like an hour to heat that up and like melt the cheese, and it's just the most awkward day. But yeah, it was cold, and then we had to heat it up to get like the right bite there.
So they're telling you to flex your bicep in a certain way, and right?
Completely natural. They didn't tell me anything.
The dog always wears that?
No, that was like an old flag football jersey I had that they put on him.
Okay.
Dude, it's all so staged. It's so bad.
Okay. Next, I think one of the last ones here. So this one of my favorites, of course.
I like that one.
Oh well, this one's good. So you're flicking a. How rich are you? First of all, you got these. You got the. What is this thing called again? The football, the triangle football.
Chinese football.
Chinese football made of $100 bills, and you're flicking it at something in the middle of poker chips.
Yeah.
Seems strange. Okay, poker. Why they put poker chips on too? I don't know. And this last one's one of my favorites. So I didn't even notice the bear slippers, by the way. So you got two foam fingers on the couch, feet up, reading the sports section with some bear slippers on and sweatpants.
Dude, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say about this. They came here. First of all, the shoot took 10 hours or something to do that, and they just tell you what to do, and the entire thing is completely awkward. For every one photo that is usable at all, there's probably 100 where I'm just making the most awkward face you've ever seen. It's really bad.
Yeah. If only you had if only you could have input in those photos and been like, hey, maybe we can make me looking more successful and not kicking my feet up here. So, yeah, I think it was a really great article. I encourage people that if you're watching this right now, with the links in the description below right now, you can go check it out and let Bales know what you think about it, man. How'd you get in the magazine? Is that something where they reach out to you or you reach out to them?
No, they reached out to me. I think that what happened was I don't know, a year ago or something, I did one thing and then I think it was kind of easily searchable or whatever, and then people who are trying to do stories on DFS, they always contact the same people, so then it just grew from there. So now people ask me to do a lot of stuff when it was just a snowball effect.
What'd you do? What'd you do initially that got you attention?
I did a Business Insider article last year, and it was very popular. And then since then, people that have been doing stories on DFS have emailed me generally. And yeah, it's difficult. It's one of those things. Some people definitely stay out of the spotlight, and that's generally the way that I've done things in the past. I don't like it. I feel very awkward, even when this story is just I feel very uncomfortable with this. I don't like that at all. But it's good for DFS, and it's good for my company too. It helps so much. So it's something that I've done, but I have very mixed feelings on, because I I don't like it at all. Just doing those things is very awkward for me.
Yeah, kind of fun though. I mean, especially if you got it's so plus EV for everything else you're doing. It kind of it's almost silly not to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I heard Sahil talking about how he did one and then he just got sued.
Bang bang. Yeah. That's how fun.
I haven't gotten sued, so that's good.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, he's I don't know, man. It seems like. Do you think those guys are doing something wrong, something bad? You think they're bad for DFS guys like an Asani or a Dodd or like a Sahil in terms of the way they go upon things and playing I don't know. Do you feel like some things they do may not be best for DFS?
No, I think that they're actually pretty vital. I think that is very important for the ecosystem that you have all different types of players, and you have, their play sustains a lot of things that are going on within DFS. But just if you're talking more about sort of being a little bit selfish in terms of chasing EV and things like that, I would never blame anyone for that. I think that we don't know how long it's going to be around. Everyone's acting selfishly. You just try to make as much money as you can right now. And I have a different view about how I'm going to make the most money long term, maybe than some other people. But you just do what you can to make money. So I don't blame anyone. I think that whether you're a a high stakes player or a tournament player, or you run a site, or you're a tout, or you give lineups, or whatever. I don't care. You are doing what's best for you. So I don't blame anyone for trying to make money.
Yeah, not everybody agrees with you on that one. That's for sure. Yeah,
I know that.
Oh, I mean, I kind of thought I've been thinking about this a lot more because as I've been reading more about it, I've been having more conversations about it with people on both sides of things, and I feel like the people that are angry about this are the people who, if they could be in that position, they'd probably be doing similar. They'd probably be taking advantage of that too. If they could beat the games at a high level, at a high percent against a lot of players, they'd probably be doing the same things, but they can't for whatever reason. Maybe it's not their main thing. They're recreational. They don't know how, or they don't have the they just can't. And yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of that's what it is. And maybe they would say, no, I would never do that. I would never play the dollar tournaments like Asani does, or I would never play dollar ones like Dot does, or I would never enter every single tournament like Sahil does. Well, if you had the capability to, if you were able to. If they handed you what Sahil does and his process in terms of how we can enter so many games and so many lineups and play all the sports, I'm sure people would utilize it and they'd use it if they could. But they can't.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that people are always looking for sort of excuses, and I do agree with what I think it was Asani said that. If you just put this energy toward being a better player, you'd probably make money. Like there's some people that just bitch a lot. Mm-hmm. All they do is bitch, and I don't get it. Why are you? I just don't care what anyone else is doing. I just don't care. I don't care. I don't care what Asani does. I don't care what Saho does. Right? I'm just trying to do what I want to do, and put my energy toward that. Not bitch about if I think that they're doing something wrong. I don't know. There's definitely a place for if people are working outside of the rules or something like that. But what Asani does or something he's just trying to maximize EV, like he said, and some people think that that's wrong. I don't know if I would do the same thing or not, but I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean. It's not even and from talking to more, it's not there's many people doing it. It's just because he's at a level of notoriety amongst the community or plays the highest stakes and also does it, all of a sudden it's different. But someone who plays up to $500 heads ups, or they're not they're not getting anything from people. It seems like they're not getting shit, or they're not getting berated or hated on by people. But why is that? Because they're not playing up I don't know. It just doesn't. It seems like it should be across the board. So if a guy plays, if he's known as one of the best, he shouldn't play there. If the guy plays a certain stakes, he shouldn't play there. I mean, it just seems like I don't know. It seems like you can't hate the guy for that. That's the way the rules work. Yeah,
the one thing I'd say is that there is some argument that is Asani. He's certainly maximizing his EV right now. Is he maximizing it long term? So if we think DFS is sustainable. Is it better for him to not play those guys, let them develop, and then take their money later, right? It might be in his best interest to not be doing that right now at those low dollar games. Give up the $20K in equity per year, and it turns into $100K later. I think that there's definitely an argument for that, but I agree with him that it's on the sites to figure that out. That it's their responsibility, not his. But The view that I take is generally, I think just longer. That's the way that I think about things. So I'm always willing to give up something right now for more later.
Yeah, I guess the obvious counter most people would make is, well, someone else good would take those games, which is debatable. Maybe not. Maybe so. So.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Pamsy's in the chat. What's up, Pamsy puppy? How are you doing? Just dropped to say hello. Some love down here from Argentina. Much love to Argentina, Pamsy. What's up, Pamsy? One of my favorite non-American English, shout out to the English language, non-English speaking women who makes videos on YouTube. What's up, Pamsy? Put it in, says, Puppy, are you hiding any extra Eat Sleep PLO tanks in your closet? Can't find any. Are they not up for sale? I guess I can put them back up for sale, yeah. I can put them back up there. Who else we got in the chat, man? Hooded in. My boy Ben Jackson. What up, Ben? My buddy Dylan Duval. What up, Dylan, Puppy? Aaron Sanders, Too Fat Matt says, they say that during the California gold rush, the people who made the most money were selling shovels, not digging for gold. It's deep shit. Tall Ace of Spades, Jay Sass, Bassina back again, Dan S, Alex Babbitts. You gotta get some shout outs here? Anybody, Bales?
I can't see the chat, so I don't know.
Well, maybe people you don't know. Maybe names on your own. Maybe I don't know.
Shout out CSU, of course, man. My co-founder at Labs.
Maybe your mom's watching. Shout out to your mom. Maybe your mom might be watching this
I
later.
guarantee you, she just got on Twitter, man. She favorites like every single thing, like every mention. Like she's mentioning Cuban and stuff. Like.
Shout out to your mom. What's up, Mama Bales? Mom, me. Where's your parents live at?
Like an hour and a half away from Philly. I grew up like in a rural area. I had like 120 people or something in my class when I graduated.
That don't sound fun.
It's not great.
Jesus, 120?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, does not sound fun. You visit your parents a lot? You go back home a lot, or you kind of just stay where you're at and stay in the lab grinding?
Yeah, I used to more. Now it's just like it's tough. Yeah, it's just like I'm working so much, and
trust me, I feel you.
Yeah, living here, I live like in the middle of a cool neighborhood and stuff. So I got rid of my car, so it's tough to even go back.
You live in Philly?
Yeah.
What neighborhood do you live in?
Northern Liberties.
Okay, I'm vaguely know it. I spent some time.
Do you know Philly?
I spent some time there, puppy. Last December, because I do this announcing thing sometimes at the Borgata for this poker thing that happens, and then I know I have a friend who lives in Philadelphia, and spent some time with my friend. We played some chess, me and her. High-level chess matches we had, and sorry, chess is code for dating for you DFS guys. Back in the 1800s, they used to say, "Oh, we're playing chess," and that'd be a way for a man and woman to hang out and not arouse suspicion amongst the people. So they'd play chess with each other, but it'd be like hanging out. So, yeah, we played some chess, and I Airbnb.
Do you like Philly?
Yeah, it's fun. I liked it a lot. Yeah, it was cool. I think I was by Temple when I stayed there.
Oh, that's really shitty.
I mean, it was kind of cool. I don't know. It was like I walked down one street, and then I went and stayed, and then I went and stayed more. I was by Stinger, where Brian Hastings lives at.
Oh, yeah. He just moved, I think, to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, he moved back.
Yeah,
to Fort
lives like he did live like a block from me. He's right up the street.
Yeah, I went to his house, checked that out too. Him and his girl.
It was like on the water.
Yeah, it was on the water. Yeah, it was pretty sweet place. Does he still play DFS? He plays DFS too.
I think he stopped for the most part. I'm not sure. He was playing for a bit, but yeah, he stopped and not playing too much. I think probably back for NFL.
Yeah, probably.
But he moved maybe like two months ago with Sonia. I'm pretty sure to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, they used to live there back in the. And Brian used to have this absurd place right on the ocean there in Fort Lauderdale, right where the spring break is, and I definitely put a nice 3-week stint in there when I came back to the States, and I was like needed to recover my life, and good place to be, man, right on the beach. I mean, it's kind of very touristy though, but yeah, it was fun, man. It's a fun. Yeah. You ever go down there, Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, I've been there once. What's the main street there? It's really cool with the lights and stuff. I forget what's called.
Is it the one on the Ocean Drive? Or I think it's Ocean Drive. There's also one that's more
Ocean Drive and then perpendicular.
Yeah, there's one more downtown that's kind of popping too, where there's a lot of things at. Yeah.
A lot of restaurants and bars.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah, I like it down there.
Yeah, it's cool. There's like a lot of like canals and stuff, sort of. Yeah, I like it. I think that's a place that I would be interested in moving to. But yeah, Philly, I don't think is for everyone, for sure. It's like definitely just like it's dirty here and it's like grimy and there's garbage and stuff everywhere. I don't know. It's not a nice place per se, but there's cool stuff. I like it.
I like how the sports stadiums are set up, man. It's like
all together.
I don't know, whoever came up with that idea is just a legendary person, because I was like, there's no way Chicago could do this. They have the baseball, football, and basketball are all right there with that sick thing downtown in Philly. It's like that's great. I don't know how they did that, but that's like the location seems well. Traffic, it seems easy to get there. It's just
Yeah, I don't know. Then that's like the opposite side of the city for me, and it still takes maybe 20 minutes to get there. So everything's like pretty close here.
I like Philly. Shout out to Philadelphia, man. Shout out to Philadelphia. Nice eclectic mix of people. You got the black girls, you got the Latina girls, you got the white girls, you got the Italian girl. I mean, you got a lot of mixture of people there. So let's take some questions from the chat, guys. Sportsfront says most overrated daily fantasy sports player from perception standpoint.
Oh God.
Bang bang.
Me, I think.
Stop it. Come on. Let's try again.
No, I think that people think probably I'm better than I am. So I would say I have the highest like fame to actually being a good player ratio. So me.
Okay, not you, but name someone else then.
I can't, man.
Why?
I know all these guys, man. I'll say Levitan because everyone knows Levitan and he doesn't play that much. So.
Okay. Seems like Levitan does a lot of. He does like he's doing a lot of cool stuff, man. He's watching every single game. He's providing a lot of quality content on Twitter. He's doing a podcast. He's writing. He's like a jack of all trades.
He's everywhere, man. He does a lot of stuff.
What a grinder, man. Charisma91 says, could you beat sports betting, or did you before DFS?
Could I now? I don't know. Not right now. I'd have to like figure it out. I don't know that it's that. It would be tough, but I did make money. So you had talked about poker and stuff, and I played a little bit. But one of the reasons that I was like afraid to go into poker that people don't know about was that my dad was like a compulsive gambler, and so like growing up, I was like that was forbidden. Like I couldn't do that, and it was something that I just like would never do. I wouldn't gamble. And so I didn't get into it for that reason. I was just sort of like scared, so risk averse. And now I've like maybe because of that completely shifted where it's like doesn't mean anything to me. But when I made some money early on was like I took a chance when I was in college on betting on who would receive the opening kickoff in football games. And which seems like completely random, but the NFL used to do, they changed their coin toss rules where you couldn't defer before. So if you won, you would receive or kick, and everyone would receive. And then they changed it to like college style where you could defer. And the books, like certain books, didn't compensate for this. And like you could look in preseason and early weeks, which certain coaches, generally if they had a good defense, would always defer. And then certain ones would always receive. So if they were matched up, like you knew with almost 100% certainty who would receive the kickoff. So I like tried to find big limits on that and bet on that, and I was okay doing that because it was like such a certainty. And maybe that's where like I started to go like a little degen. That was what got me into it a little maybe.
How'd that turn out? You won most of those?
I won every single one because it was like you couldn't even and then they stopped it. They stopped it because of me. I would bet and then the line would move, and then like maybe I don't know, week 10 or something they stopped doing it. They realized.
Which were you betting?
Not that much, but it was like high 4 figures, I guess, and then but like multiple bets for multiple weeks and then winning every one.
Jesus. Sports Friend says one change Bales would make in the industry that might piss people off.
I don't know if I guess it would piss Asani off or something, but you have to find a way to not let pros. It wouldn't piss him off because he's just playing by the rules, but you can't let good players play novices in cash games for sure. You have to have some, like poker had an obvious. If you were better, you moved up in stakes. There was a time element. There's no time element in DFS. You can just like click and enter into everything. Mm-hmm. And I think that has to be stopped. You have to figure out a better way to segregate players. And I know that there's challenges. It's difficult. You could have people getting in there that shouldn't be, but there has to be a way to segregate players where players who are bad can become okay, and players who are okay can become good, and then it'll be more sustainable. But you can't have new players coming in and having like negative 50% ROI or something. That's horrible. It's just not sustainable like that.
Well, so they have beginner stuff on certain
Yeah,
sites,
they have
right?
beginner. You run out of beginner games in like a week or something. Like, the beginner games are sort of a joke right now.
What's like 300 or something like that?
I don't know what it is. I was in beginner for soccer. I did soccer for a bit, so I was allowed to play beginner games. And like, if you play a bunch of $1 games or something, you're out of the beginner stage immediately. Like it should be based probably on profit, right? Or
It's not a bad idea. It seems like a good idea. I mean,
let people. I mean that. Yeah, I mean let people see who's winning, I guess, by what stakes they're allowed into.
yeah, I mean that would not work at poker, but yeah, I mean yeah, there'd be outrage among good players in that. Obviously, like if you're a losing player, you want that to happen, but
Yeah, I don't know that is you have to have big guys like sort of putting a lot of money in, and they make a lot of money from smaller players, but you can't have new players having no shot to win.
mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, Asani might stream. He might stream himself railing the action if he's got like some. We talked about that idea the other day. I think he said he's interested in the idea. What do you think about? Do you think the idea would work? Think people would watch it?
I do. So, who are you talking with? I thought it was him that said that like it wouldn't work in the same way as poker because
Ryan said
poker
that.
players are doing some. Oh, it was thought
Yeah.
that poker players are doing something, and DFS players are like, and they're like interacting, and DFS players are just like in front of laptops. But not always. Like there's live events, and you can stream and talk about different things and why you're doing, why you're making certain changes or whatever after the fact, or you know, you could have like, I would be really interested in watching, you know, just Sahil and Asani battle heads up. I think that would be like an awesome thing to watch. That'd be really cool. So I think that there's if you do it in the right way, that it could be a popular thing for people to watch.
I think so too. Nice presentation layout. You got Asani or whatever, one of them at the top. Some fun graphics. What they have in act. I mean, what they're betting against each other. Their lineups next to them, and that you could have the game. I mean, I don't know. There seems like there's got to be a way to be able to do something like that.
Like all the action that like he has, say 80K in play or 100K, right? And then let's say he loses almost all of it, and then what would be really cool is seeing him not actually react to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like people don't understand that, and I didn't understand it either. Like when you start gambling at all, you are like I'm sure when you played poker, if you lost $20, it was like, oh my god. Like that hurt. That was a really hard thing to deal with. But it's like completely relative, right? So watching him and how he deals with losses, I think would be a pretty cool thing. And then also watching people sweat if they sweat, like, because I hate that, but some people like it. Some people like to watch the games.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand it. I can't like watch my lineup go up and down and stuff.
Yeah, guys in the chat, if you have any couple more questions, we'll take a couple more questions. I'm trying to keep these under. Not trying to have them go dot length here. You know, the dot. That one went long, but I enjoy that one a lot. So
that was good. They've all been good.
Thank you, Poppy. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, I'm trying to. I mean, it's easy. You talk to some of the best players. They're also smart guys, and you know, it helps when I know people, when I've talked with you guys before in the past. So it makes the conversation much better, and it's not a completely random sort of thing.
How has the reception been from the poker guys with having some DFS guys on?
I don't think they like
I mean,
it.
I guess Sahil was the only one who...
I don't think they like it.
Yeah, no, they hate it.
No, definitely not. They definitely don't like it, for sure. No. I mean, most of my audience it's like 35% Americans, and then the rest is, you know, rest of the world. So A lot of them just aren't interested. They can't play DFS. They don't. They even if they know Asanya, they know Ryan from poker or whatever. Like they don't necessarily know much else outside of that. Like they don't. And I feel like the conversation isn't just strictly DFS related. There's been some poker talk too, but at the same time, people just aren't. They're just not. I don't know. They don't. They. Especially I have so many podcasts out now. So instead of watching something with someone that they don't really know. Sometimes with DFS, they'd probably just watch an older one with a poker player that they do know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't really gauge it from, what people are saying or what, I kind of do it for myself and I enjoy the conversations. They're fun. I like talking some DFS. I like talking with the guys I'm having on this week. Get to chat with you, which is fun. Get to chat with Ryan and Asani, which I always enjoy. So, get to learn more about Sahil, who's this guy, this international man of mystery. And then we got Adam and Evan who are crushing on their own right. So, it's like, it's like real fun. It's fun to get a different perspective and see what some other guys who are doing well in other industries are, what they're all about.
Yeah, man. They've been fun to watch. There's so many similarities between poker and DFS.
Yeah, I want to get the one guy on the Kandia guy. I want to find him and get him on. Normally, I can find everybody in poker because I always.
Did you meet him at Playboy?
No, was he there?
He was there. Yeah,
no, I didn't meet. I met the.
Well, he's very mild mannered. He's not like outgoing where he would come up to you or anything. But I played pool with him there, and he might come on. He's gone on some other things recently.
We got to get him on the pod, man. We got some fun stories.
He's interesting. He's an interesting guy.
Hey, he seems fun, man. James Miles says, thoughts on doing maybe like a fish gets to play with a shark for a day contest for a subscriber to win and get a personal hour or two long strategy chat sessions a week for a month or something? Who's that for? Me or I guess both of us, I suppose, that could be for.
Yeah, I don't know. So what are your thoughts on coaching?
Coaching what?
I don't know. You
coaching
said like an hour long session. It was
coaching.
I guess like a heads up. For coaching poker.
I would coach PLO players if they played below like small stakes. I would coach PLO players. I could coach poker players from a mindset standpoint because I feel like I've written some of the best things and that very limited number of people have seen in terms of better approaching your own game at poker and getting better from just a pure non-on-the-table standpoint, but just in evaluating your game, figuring out what you're doing wrong, figuring out how to get better at what you're doing wrong, figuring out how to pay better attention to when you're playing. But PLO, I would probably coach mid or high-stakes guys that played on certain sites. But I don't know. I don't know how much coaching I really want to do for PLO, especially with the new announcement of the new website potentially coming with Phil Galfond's website. Run It Once Poker.
I saw that.
Yeah, so I'm abandoning all PLO strategy discussion ideas I had in my mind now. I don't know, man. I gotta reevaluate that approach to things because I can't be giving away too much PLO strategy. So it could, a site. I mean, I'm excited for that. A site by actual poker players who, interesting idea. Could you imagine if FantasyLabs could start a DFS website?
You mean like a DraftKings or FanDuel?
No.
Yeah, I've thought about it.
I mean, that's kind of what it is, right? It's like PokeStars has been making all these terrible changes, and now Phil's like, well, let's start a site. Let's get this going on. So it's gonna be crazy. I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, it's tough. Like with this. With my site, we don't need like any sort of like it's sort of linear in the growth, whereas like DK or FanDuel sort of have to hit this critical mass of players, and so to get that liquidity, you need a lot of money. Even if you run a really good business, you just need money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's tough.
Sports Friend says best FanDuel Playboy Mansion story, DFS related or not?
I don't know.
I already shared mine on like the previous podcast, or I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to repeat the story again here, but I definitely, obviously, have probably
you met a girl that you have a 5% chance to marry. So
yeah, like I obviously have one of the best probably FanDuel Playboy Mansion stories of anyone that's been to the FanDuel Playboy Mansion. So I like, yeah.
The Playboy Mansion, like you can get whatever you want out of it, sort of. Like it can be very PG or it could not. Like. There's girls there that you can talk to. You can do whatever you want. Like
listen, you want to fondle some naked girls in the pool? They're gonna let you.
Yeah, you can do literally anything there. Do you still talk to that girl?
Yeah. She's cool.
Yeah.
She's like a 6 foot tall Cuban girl it's sexy and fun.
Where does she live?
L.A. She lives in right next to the Grove. So like I can't remember. I'm not sure what part of town that's in, but I'm not sure where the Grove's at. Like nearish Beverly Hills, something like that. Maybe like 10, 15 minutes away without terrible traffic from Beverly Hills. So yeah, I stayed with her for a while. I stayed at her place, and yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I'm excited to go back. Let's put it like that. I'm excited. I'm excited to go back to the Playboy Mansion. I got a different strategy this time though, so we'll see what happens. Francisco says, "Hey papi, Margarita, merengue, great podcast. Love the format." Great content. Thank you, puppy. Gracias. Bales, anything, any last words you'd like to leave the people with today, my friend?
I don't know, man. Not really. I'm just thankful that you had me on. It was good conversation, as you say, not an interview.
Definitely not a fucking interview. Come on. Where could people find you? So they want to check you out. Check out FantasyLabs. What's FantasyLabs run? You got a free membership for 5 days, and then you get. What's the process like for new people out there who want to check it out?
Yeah, you can just go to it. I'm not going to tout it that much. You can go to FantasyLabs, and there's stuff for free, and then you can upgrade to pro if you like it.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, that's the kind of advertisement I would do. Yeah, I feel right. I'm like, I'm gonna go here and yeah, I feel the same way. That's kind of, yeah. I was on a podcast yesterday. I did the same thing. Like, you want to like something? Not really. No, I'm like, I don't know how to say. Yeah, I don't know. I feel a little weird doing that. So
yeah, if someone likes it, they'll go there. So
exactly, man. All right, guys in the chat. I'm gonna be back tomorrow night with Adam Leviton, probably same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, and then me and Evan Silva will be doing a podcast next week instead of Saturday. Time will be posted on my Twitter. You want to follow Bales on Twitter, it's at BalesFootball. You want to follow him on Snapchat, it's at BigDickBales44. I'm kidding. It's not his Snapchat name. I'm sorry, guys. You have Snapchat? You use Snapchat for the fans?
I don't know anything about Snapchat, man. Do you have Snapchat?
I use it, but like, I use it for all my workout prep bets I have. So me and my friends, we always send each other our proof that we're at the gym or that we're eating certain foods for our diet. And I use it to talk with certain people who I don't see a lot. Like some people just use Snapchat now. So we'll have messages on Snapchat with each other. But yeah, and then I have a lot of people follow me on there, but I don't really like look at people's stories much and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I don't have, I've never used it. I just got on Instagram. That's like new to me too.
I'm not there yet. I'm like not an Instagram.
No Instagram.
Yeah, it's like the biggest. I guess it's the biggest. I'm like, the thing is, I don't give a fuck what many people are doing. That's the thing on Snapchat. I don't check anyone's story because I just don't care what they're doing. Like a couple of my friends I'm really interested in, I'll check out. Like I'll have fun. When I'm Facebook, like I don't like my mom, my little bro. Like but I don't really like. It's not like a necessity. I need to know. I have like a couple people who I like more, who I'm more interested in what they're doing with their lives, who are doing cool stuff, who I'm interested in. But most people aren't doing cool stuff with their lives. Most people are, they're not doing anything too crazy. So it's not like I'm like, hey, I want to check this out all the time. It's more like, got no interest. Like Instagram, I don't just care about seeing models fucking modeling around when they're like doing model type stuff. It's not, I don't doesn't really interest me that much. So
I know. Yeah, and then so I joined it, and then like I never have like a picture that I'm like, oh man, I gotta show people this. Like I've like forced myself to post stuff. I don't know.
I think it's good I think it's good for business.
It is, I guess. You can't like post links in this stuff though. So for DFS and probably poker, Twitter's the best by far, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Twitter's the best. I mean, I don't know if Instagram. Like I'm sure you could leverage it, you could utilize it somehow, but I haven't even looked into strategy for it. I haven't read anything. I haven't really, looked in anything on there. So, but I'm sure it's got to be plus EV if you could figure out how to do it. Especially if you want to go like a lifestyle angle. I'm sure there's some you could, if you say like you say you make FantasyLabs more of a lifestyle type of stuff. Well, if there's a space on Instagram for a DFS type of lifestyle related thing, well then that could be you could be the place that fills that niche on there.
That was my exact thought with it. And like I started like a blog and stuff. I started writing about it, like what I'm doing and stuff. And then I don't know. It's just like part of me is like, oh, people might find this interesting, and then the other part is like, who gives a shit what I'm doing? Like, I don't know. Why would people care what I'm doing? It's like, whatever. But they do, I guess. I don't know. I mean, people care what anyone's doing.
Yeah, I mean, they care about what people that have no talent are doing. So if actually someone who's been able to build things and have success and be able to create a lot of cool stuff, I mean, that's the kind of person you probably would care about. You want to know what they're doing, how they do it. Instead, if you're going to care about some random fucking chick who just takes pictures, then, I mean, I think a lot of people are going to care about someone who actually has talent, who's actually doing something with themselves.
Yeah. Like, do you have any like mentors in terms of the podcast and stuff? Like, have you been doing, research or like, I don't know.
Not really.
Whoever.
No, not really. No. I mean, I wish there was like a person like that. I don't really. I don't know. The podcast strategy I've used is sort of all in my head when I first started. Like everything I do, I've had since I initially first started in my mind on what I thought would work from like a strategic standpoint. But also I just kind of just click random buttons and do things I enjoy. It's like if I have someone on, I just enjoy, I just want to talk to. Like it isn't super calculated where I'm like, all right, I know this will get me the most views. This will get me the most likes, or this will get the most engagement. Yeah. This will be the most interesting. Like I just, I don't know, man. I just like talking with certain people. I like having them on, and sometimes that's not the most popular, but
I love that approach.
Yeah,
I've done like the same things, like my books and stuff. Like people will tweet at me or email me like all these typos and stuff. I'm like, I don't know, man. I just like write it, and then people like it. I think that those things, like if you were following every rule of writing a book, you could never do that, right? You could never have a typo in the book. But it's like people don't actually care.
Listen, I said that when I started writing on my site, I would say like, I'm not proofreading this. I don't care. It's gonna be wrong words. It's gonna be wrong spelling. And people would tell me, I'm like, I don't care. Like I don't care if it's I don't care if it's bad grammar. Like it's fine.
Yeah, if you have good information, they won't care. No one cares.
Yeah. Jane Anna says, check out Gary Vaynerchuk. Yeah, have you ever seen any of Gary Vaynerchuk stuff?
No, I haven't.
Poppy, you joking?
I haven't.
Oh my God, you're set for life now. I just gave you stuff for like the next 3 months of your life, dude. I'm serious. It's like the best stuff for sure. Actually, I had, a guy who personal trained him. I had him on the podcast, and now he's my personal trainer too. Shout out to my boy Mike Bacanti, Poppy.
So what is he? I see his YouTube channel here.
Watch some of the Ask Gary V shows, and you're gonna love them for sure. Like imagine me, how much energy I bring, and then times that by like 2.5, and he brings like that much more energy. But he's also super smart, super successful, great advice. Yeah, he's like the GTO person for all things business and yeah, very good.
Cool.
So. Definitely check that out. Shout out to my boy Jay Nandes, man. What's up, buddy? Josh, if you're tuning in now, you should definitely put a tank top on. But yeah, guys, I'm out of here. Bales, much love, Poppy. Thank you for joining the podcast. Guys in the chat, appreciate all the comments, appreciate all the questions. And be back tomorrow. You can rewatch it back in the beginning, or you can find it on iTunes. Search for the Poker Life Podcast. You want to find FantasyLabs, go to FantasyLabs.com. You guys got podcasts on iTunes too?
Yeah, we have, I don't know, a few of them. You can find them. Search for them. FantasyLabs. I don't know.
All right, guys. We're out. Peace out. Much love. Adios.